Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Prescribed Truth. I'm Jamal Bandy, the one who seeks to distribute the truth that the doctor prescribes to the church and the world today. I'm just giving you guys a quick update. If you have been watching the channel for the past couple of days, I released a video probably a couple of days ago now, talking about a plan of wanting to compare and contrast the two political parties that we're dealing with today, and also to hopefully through that give an explanation on why I do not vote Democrat and I lean more towards the Republican side. But given the things that took place at the Capitol, I pulled that video back, not because I thought it was a bad idea and not because I don't think it would be good for us to look at and to pay attention to, but given the state of what we're dealing with and everything that happened after the fact, especially the conversations between Christians on social media concerning the topic of riots and what's deemed right and what's wrong and everything else, which it seems like we should not disagree on these topics. It seems like we should all agree, but we're having to comb through narratives and broad brushing and all that kind of stuff like that. And so I felt like it's probably most important to deal with the cause of all this issue that we have today. And so, I think I want to focus on that. And that's what's been really hitting me as we look at the events that transpired and the whole issue with there being voter fraud and whether or not we can trust the election process and, people, patting on the back or just smacking the wrists of those Trump supporters, quote unquote, who stormed the Capitol and then yet waving their fists at those Black Lives Matter protesters and so on and so forth for rioting and looting and all that kind of stuff like that. And so it seems that we need to really focus on what's the cause of all of this at the root of it all. And that's, in my understanding and what I see, is relativism. Relativism is it's the standard now of what truth is. As a matter of fact, I don't know if our culture can survive understanding real truth. It's like facts don't matter. It's perception. Perception is what matters. It doesn't matter what is done or what is actually said or what is actually done or the root causes of things that happen and how, just none of that. It's relativism. How you see it is based on how you gain knowledge and deal with that knowledge, and it's not just dealing with this election. It's not just dealing with the election, guys. It's not just dealing with what's been going on the past 4 years. Like, this is what's been going on for decades. Relativism has really, really shaped our culture today over the course of decades. And you got to see it. You have to see it. And it's like you can argue sides. And this is why I decided to hold off on that video, because you can argue sides, right? Whether you should be a Democrat, whether you should be a Republican, or whether you should be independent, whatever. You can argue all of that. But see, as a Christian, why do we choose, right? Because of course we choose, but why do we choose? What is at the root of our choice? And it's our worldview. It's our worldview, and based on our worldview, that's how we interpret knowledge or interpret information, I should say. Based on our worldview, this is how we interpret information that's given to us. All right. Whether we try everything that comes to us or we react emotionally immediately. You see what I'm saying? Our worldviews determine it. You can't get away from it. The problem is the majority of culture processes information through relativism. It doesn't matter what is the truth behind anything. It's how it looks and how it seems. And therefore, that is what it is, And I'm being very broad here, but this is why I want to kind of deal with that. And honestly, guys, I don't know how I want to go about this. I don't know if I wanted to go back a few decades to see how this progressed, because it has progressed, or do I want to work backwards, like starting from what happens today and then goes backwards, just to see how everything line up. But at the root of it all, it's the result of a godless culture. Like, there's no one who disagreed that the rioters were wrong. Nobody disagreed that those who broke into the Capitol, or and I hate to say broke into, because it literally looks like they were kind of let in. And I got my own conspiracy on that, guys. Let me throw this out here, just something to think about, food for thought. How was it that this march to the Capitol was already determined? People already knew that was going to happen, and yet there was hardly no police presence, considering how the crowd was there. None. And so I say none, but the amount, the amount of police presence and security for the Capitol, guys. Not you're talking about the Capitol of the United States. Where was all the people? Should have they knew this was going to happen, and Trump called for the National Guard and everything else. Why weren't nobody there? Why was nobody there? I don't know. That baffles me, guys. And then I'm sorry, like I said, it's about the sides, but for the Democratic Party to come off the side and say, hey, see, look what they're doing, A, B, and C. And then you got a few, out of all those people, I can say few like it was just a couple of people, but out of all the people who were there, everybody, even if you watch the live streams of people who were there at the time it was going on, they didn't know that people were breaking in. It wasn't like it was a known thing. Hey, we're going to riot the Capitol. Come on, Trump supporters are going to riot the Capitol. It's there were a group of people who decided that they were going to do something stupid, just like what happened in a lot of the riots that took place for Black Lives Matter. And I got to be fair with all that. A lot of times there were people who were just marching peacefully, and you got some idiot decide they want to break a glass. I've seen a video of it. Somebody decided they want to throw a rock at a building and break a glass while people are just walking, marching, and chanting. That's all. So I've seen it on both sides, guys. The truth is there, So why are we disagreeing? Why are we disagreeing? Because we're having to comb through all the narratives and all of the broad brushing and stuff like that, And I think this stuff was a ruse. I think it's like a game of chess, It's like, hey, we know they're going to march the Capitol. We're gonna make sure there's nobody's there. And this is me conspirating, guys. We're going to make sure hardly no police presence is there and everything else. And, people are going to get rowdy because people are angry. And a few of them guys are going to take it a little too far. And we're going to say they stormed the Capitol. And then if you look at some of the videos that are there, it's like they were basically just let in. And then that serves the purpose of serving the white supremacy agenda, right? Because the whole narrative, white supremacy, white privilege, right? Because you got majority of the photos were white people going in the building. You know what I'm saying? And taking photos and sitting in the chairs and with the Confederate flags and everything else. They're the ones doing this. So there we go. We're going to have a light police. We're going to have a light police presence, and we're going to let these white folks just come on in here and do what they want to do. We're going to give them a little roughing up, but we're not going to do nothing too bad. And then we're going to push the narrative that this is white supremacy and white privilege, and people are going to eat it up. They're going to eat it up. So for the sole purpose of confirming that Trump got to get out. He got to go, because look what his people is doing. Look what his people are doing. His people are doing this. And therefore, we were right. We were the right choice, because we're going to put an end to all of this. And guys, I'm interested to see how this all going to play out, because you never put the bulk of everything that happens in a country on the president themselves. It didn't happen. You don't do it. You weren't supposed to do it when it happened with Obama. You weren't supposed to do it when it happened with Bush or anybody else. It's like you look at what a president elect or whatever, what they're pushing for, what they're standing for. And as a Christian, you want to know, okay, is what they're pushing for aligned with God's word? And I'm going to get with the candidate who's most aligned. Not that they're all going to be aligned. They're not. Who's most aligned with what God's standard is. All right. Because just like the Bible says, he's written his laws on our hearts, And so anyway, so this narrative, everything's going on is crazy. It's wild. I don't know what's going to come of the next few weeks or so. But like I said, I don't think it's important right now to deal with whether or not you're going to be a Democrat or Republican. It's out there. The platforms are out there. You can read it for yourself. If you're a Christian, I implore you to read the Democratic platform. read it. You know, if for my black brothers and sisters who are Democrat, if you're only Democrat because of the fact that you feel like they're going to be for black people, if that's it, if that's your only reason, come on. I mean, one, I don't think they're going to do anything for you, for us, but okay. But if that's your only reason, please read the rest and do that thing where you take all the good stuff and you line it up and list it out. And then you take all the bad stuff and you line it up and list it out. All right, do that. And you know what I'm saying? And if the fact that you feel like gonna do something for black people is worth 100 of the bad things that it's for, then that's something between you and your God. But this right here, I don't know, guys. Anyway, you have to see it for yourself. You got to see it for yourself. And because of relativism, it's steeped in our culture. Some people don't care to read it. People ain't gonna care to look at it. Ain't gonna care to use critical thinking in the midst of it. They're not. It's just a matter of, I'm not gonna be with this because I see them to be racist. I'm not gonna do this because I see them to not be for black people. You know, and that be it. You know, and so yeah. Anyway, that's it. You know, I want to be able to do that because I think truth matters and all truth belongs to God. And so even when it comes to historical truths, things that actually took place. And so, it's important. And so I don't know what to think about our election. You know, it happened. Biden won. Georgia is now Democrat, you know, so, hey, here we go. This is where I live. You know, it is what it is. At the end of the day, God is still sovereign. I'm not crying over it. You know, I'm not going to boohoo and weep and everything else. I pray for our country. I'm going to pray for Biden. I'm going to pray for Warnock and Ossoff. Unless I'm in Georgia, I'm going to pray for them. And, you know, I'm pray God directs them because that is what we need, you know, and go from there, man. You know, but the state of our culture as a whole, not just our states, but as our culture as a whole and across the world, is a need for God, need for him and his standards, you know, and apart from him, we're going to fall. You know, it's going to be a sad day. I feel for my children. I feel for my grandchildren soon to be, or one day down the road. I feel for them. You know, if truth does not matter, if reality doesn't matter, if critical thinking doesn't matter, if everything is based on feelings and based on how you perceive it, if that is it, then we're doomed. We're doomed, you know? So anyway, I've been on here long enough. I talked longer than I would have liked to, but if you want to reach out to me, you can email me, prescribe.truth@gmail.com. I really appreciate you guys' support. Subscribe if you haven't already, and just stay tuned. That's all I can say. Stay tuned, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when I release another video. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, please do so. And I hear from you guys soon. So remember, this world is full of errors, but the only thing the doctor prescribes is truth. Blessings.